Game number one, a typically impressive affair out of LGD Gaming. Game number two, Rattlesnake bounced back and on the back of a Kunkka swinging a very sharp sword. Got himself an ultra kill to close things out. Rattlesnake manages to force us to a game three, the dark horse of this tournament. One of the most feared teams just because no one knows what to expect out of them. Rattlesnake ready to perhaps add another major name to their kill list. Orange was the last team they beat, and now looking to follow it up with an equally impressive win over LGD Gaming. LGD, though, no stranger to pressure, no stranger to performing against teams that are hard to deal with. The second-place finishers in G League, the legendary squad cobbled together of players, the best around the world from 12 different time zones, ready to match wits with Rattlesnake for the third time here in this best of three. Thanks to everyone for tuning in here on One More Game TV2. I'm Ayesee, and this is the G-1 Champions League Asia Qualifier Phase 3, Game 3 of a best of three. A lot of threes, a lot of Dota today, and every bit of it has been just absolutely excellent. Rattlesnake, I mean, really, I'm not going to talk about, by the way, anyone who's expecting me to talk about the remake, I don't care. I'm just going to go on record and say, actually, I will talk about it briefly, just to say this very much, live on the stream and in the VOD for perpetuity, so that can be put down, is the reason LGD International lost Game 2 had nothing to do with remaking after a haste run had been picked up. I'm sorry. If you actually think that haste run was the difference maker in a game where Rattlesnake outperformed LGD for 38 straight minutes, you're out of your mind. So any blame, anything else, any of the community backlash, whatever, it's nonsense. I love you guys, but that was just a solid win out of Rattlesnake. That's how that went, and that's the end of that discussion. Moving on, LGD going to look to bounce back, and I'll tell you, man, Rattlesnake executed extremely well in game number two, particularly in their ability to what I would call reprisal kills. LGD applied pressure in a lot of good ways, but the team fights just not going their way, and Rattlesnake's reaction to any move that LGD made was just excellent from bell to bell. I mean, it really, really was, be it pushing towers, teleporting around, having good movement, dealing with LGD taking smoke ganks, and so on and so forth. LGD would just always felt a step behind. They felt like they were never quite on par with the thought processes of Rattlesnake, and after a while, it just ended up going against them. Now, LGD had the door open for them for a while, and even though they were behind a number of kills, they were behind pretty substantially in experience and in gold. What's important is that they had a much better late-game lineup and a couple of choice decisions out of LGD that I still kind of put under scrutiny as possibly being some difference makers. I mean, Misery struggled quite a bit on our Sand King. He didn't really get a lot out of Epicenter. He was rather under-leveled the majority of the game, so he was never really up to stuff in his pure damage output. But the magic damage of Rattlesnake could have been very easily mitigated by an item like a pipe that I really thought was going to be prioritized, and it just flat out wasn't. Things like BKBs never came out on the side of LGD, when really that should have been something that they tried to prioritize. And we'll see if that's going to be the case again here today. A little basic magic resistance going to be on the menu for Rattlesnake as they pick up Shadow Demon and Rubik, inarguably two of the most popular lane supports in the entire game right now. And for good reason. Both have a lot of versatility in how they can be played. They can be played very effectively defensively, or they can apply a lot of pressure. Telekinesis and Disruption, arguably two of the best level 1 initiation skills, at least on a single target, in the entire game. And they never get bad is the thing. There's never a time where it's like, oh, now we're 25 minutes in, so obviously Disruption is not as good as it once was. That's not how it works, and that's why those heroes are so popular. They have an immense amount of skills, especially in the case of Rubik, who can just take your stuff from you and use it right back against you. But Shadow Demon with Demonic Purge, Shadow Demon with Soul Catcher in particular, the amount of damage a Shadow Demon who's able to get the Purge, or excuse me, able to get the Soul Catcher on the right target can give you in bringing down a tanky target like a Lone Druid, which we once again see picked up here from LGD. And Shadow Demon and Rubik also do pretty well in lane because they are not the most extremely mana-hungry supports in history. They can't sit in lane. They don't need a lot of items. So long as they pick and choose their targets wisely, they're not going to have much of a problem with sustain. And again, they can play offensively. They're both very effective in moving under cover of smoke to gank mid lane, to gank other lanes. Or you can just sit them and just make them babysitters, and they're going to keep just about anyone safe. So Lycan, going to be the pickup from Rattlesnake. And Lycan's an interesting pick here. I mean, there's only so much you can say about him. The hero still does what he does. He just doesn't do it nearly as well as he used to back in his heyday when he was first pick, first ban status. He doesn't really jungle anymore. The nerf to the Wolves, some would argue, was actually a little bit too much. And I'm not really on board with that. I mean, the fact that Lycan can do everything that he already does, and he happened to be a very fast jungler, was really what made him just a little bit too over the edge in terms of pure strength. Now, a hero who 9 times out of 10 is just going to need tri-lane support. He has to be kept safe. He is not mobile until he hits level 6. When he hits level 6, his ult helps a lot with that. He doesn't really have the ability to stand up and fight or to take care of himself without extremely strong lane support, so having the Shadow Demon and the Rubik, something not only essential, but a good pickup here. A nice early start if they did want to prioritize the Lycan from Rattlesnake. So already we can see both teams perhaps looking to push early on. I mean, when I say early, I don't mean super early. Lycan's going to push a lot earlier than a Lone Druid most of the time, or at least have the capability to do so. Once he hits level 6, he can push with the absolute best of them, and he can even pick up some items to help with that as well. But Lycan is not a bad carry. I mean, for the longest time, Lycan was just known as this beast, this kind of mid-game beast. He's not quite there now just because his income is not as reliable as it was when he could just clear the jungle from level 1 to the end of the game. Now, though, he takes a little bit longer to chug up, but he's kind of like a train. Once you get a train moving, it takes a long time for that train to really get some momentum. But once that momentum's there, it can be extremely hard to stop, both in terms of just pure individual damage output, as well as in terms of pure pushing potential. Now, the puck pickup tells me that they're actually thinking a lot more along the lines of team fight than they are pure push. On the side of LGD, you haven't talked a whole lot about their lineup, but it's about as solid all around as you're ever going to see. Nyx Assassin can mid, as could a Darkseer or hell, a Lone Druid or Leshrac for that matter. But for the most part, you usually want to see a Nyx Assassin in a lane support role. The Lone Druid, again, as always, a hero that wants and craves a solo lane, be it mid, be it solo safe, even solo long. Solo long, not as typical, especially for a team like LGD Gaming, because they like their Druid to be a beast early on. They don't like to put their Druid in a situation where he's just kind of relied upon to eventually catch up. They don't like to do a Midas build, for example, on a Lone Druid. They very much prefer a mid-game-centric build and really have popularized what has become one of the more typical builds in the armlet straight up into the Maelstrom. Really solid, gives you great scaling potential through all stages of the game, the early game on through to the mid-game and the late game, and still allows you to build into those big items as you come down the stretch. Gyrocopter picked up here on the side as to round out the lineup, I should say, for LGD. Very strong hero that can run mid or can be run as a support. And, you know, looking at the lineup so far, it's really kind of hard to call. They actually could end up midding the Lone Druid if they feel confident it's going to be against a puck. We'll have to wait and see. I really wouldn't mind that at all, except for the fact that they have two fantastic gankers in Shadow Demon and Rubik, who can apply a lot of pressure to a mid position coming out of smoke. I mean, Gyro, Darkseer, I mean, basically LGD's wide open. They have a lot of heroes that can tri-lane, a lot of heroes. Gyro can make great use of farm, so if they wanted to mid the Lone Druid and tri-lane farm the Gyrocopter with Darkseer off in the off lane, that makes a ton of sense. They could off lane the Druid and just focus the Gyro up. Or it could be an offensive tri-lane composed of Nyx Assassin, Leshrac, and Gyro farming that way. So a lot of options. And in fact, I'd say that last option is probably one of the more likely. Give the Lone Druid the solo safe lane and then allow the Darkseer to set up shop in mid with less Gyro and Nyx Assassin running in the offensive tri-lane. For Rattlesnake, you know, it's tough to call. If I had to guess, they're going to try and put the Phantom Lancer perhaps up against the Lone Druid. Mid-Phantom Lancer is something I've seen a couple of times recently in past days as well. So that's not something you can completely write off as an impossibility. It's just not something that you typically see anywhere near as much as you do see a lot of other approaches and a lot of other looks that a lineup like this might be able to give you. So we'll run through our lineups momentarily once all of our players have loaded in. Do want to keep an eye on Ayesee. Yeah, Ayesee is making his way to the safe lane for now. So they might end up... I'm still really curious here. Kabu's going to be on our puck. So that would seem to indicate that he's going to be running. They're actually just going to sack the lane and try to jungle, aren't they? That's what it seems like. Yeah, with the Quelling Blade and a Stout Shield, Luo's just going to try to jungle. And he's going to have help. He's going to have help from Lanham and from Sag. So this is not completely out of the question. It just goes to show you just how hard Lycan has been nerfed, though. The fact that he really is going to have help to jungle, even with the Quelling Blade and a Stout Shield, if he's going to be able to put up any kind of decent time. He will be splitting that experience for the most part as well. So they're just going to sack this off lane entirely. And for now, yeah, actually, Braxton, the off lane, they are going to mid the Druid. Okay, this is fine, too. And this was actually my first inclination when I saw it. The more I thought about it, I thought maybe they'd offensive tri-lane it. But feeling a lot more confident doing it this way. And I'm totally okay with this. The Druid should be fine. I'll tell you what's going to be important, though. Right here. They have to have vision right here. They need a ward here, and they need a sentry ward here. We can already see the vision going down on the side of Rattlesnake. And they're going to move these supports. They're going to be moving Lanham and Sag. Pretty much no doubt about it. And I'm actually surprised that we haven't seen a ward down yet. And have they even picked up any wards? Surely they have. Yeah, they got sentries and observer wards in. I want to see what they want to do here. For now, they're going to leave God alone. And they might actually offensively tri-lane this with Brax just to try to confound Ayesee. And this is fine. And the advantage that this grants them if they do decide to go ahead and offensively tri-lane here, there goes the observer ward. And I'll be a little surprised if they don't drop a sentry. In fact, I'm really surprised they're not going to drop a sentry down here. But we already see smoke coming out. We're going to have a disruption on the Darkseer. Brax using his Ion Shell to do what damage he can. Now he's going to find Lanham. They're doing good damage. Here comes the rest of his team, and he's going to catch two. No, he only got one. He only got Sag. There's the Spirit Lance, but First Blood's down. And Rattlesnake, I'm actually a little surprised they hung around there. Why would a Darkseer YOLO himself? Oh, wow, he's going to get two this time. The follow-up Split Earth is going to connect as well from 1437. And all of a sudden, what a disaster. Oh, Lanham! Lanham's going to make it 3 in a row. LGD International. Off to a fantastic start. I was just about to say, one of the advantages that an offensive trial lane like this is going to give you is you're going to free up mid. You're going to make mid a lot less risky situation for Lone Druid because you're going to keep pressure on Ayesee, which is going to force his supports to stay much closer. And this is potent, make no mistake. You've got Impale to lead up into Split Earth, and then you've got Brax with Surge and Ion Shell to secure the kills. He's going to feel fairly tanky as well. But that all started with a bizarre decision from Rattlesnake to just look at a Darkseer who was down to half health and standing and hanging and banging for no reason against two supports that there was no way he was going to kill either of them by himself. They just stood there, didn't think anything was weird, and then when the rest of them showed up, ended up feeding 3 back. LGD off to a great start. And I'll tell you, the levels alone that they get from that is such a big deal. Everyone already level 2. Sag's level 1. Lanham's level 1. Ayesee's level 3. So Ayesee getting the majority of the experience so far. But LGD's not going to feel under any pressure at all moving over to take this away from them. Especially once Nyx Assassin, and Nyx Assassin actually put a point into stats. Now that is interesting. He's got 1 point into Impale and 1 into stats. I have never seen that. Never seen a point go into stats first. Doesn't have the point to spend either. But Misery, and maybe he does. Maybe he's hanging on to it to see what he's going to need. But we'll find out momentarily. For now, though, here in mid, Pycat is really going to be a big winner from this. They're going to go on Ayesee. And obviously, Doppel walk enough to get him back to safety. Lanham at level 1. Still yet. Shadow Demon's about to hit level 2. But yeah, this is going swimmingly for LGD International. God has everything he ever wanted. A completely unoccupied lane to free farm. He's sitting on top of our CS board and making the most of it. Puck's actually doing quite well. Kabu doing a great job. And now they're going to engage again. There's a telekinesis, but the Split Earth just traded for the telekinesis. No way for either team to really follow up confidently. And Luo is actually bottle crowing to give himself some potential here. This just goes to show you how bad Lycan is in the jungle now. He's level 4, so he's getting the job done, but it's taking a lot of courier time. He's borrowing a bottle from someone. Who's he borrowing it from? He's borrowing it from Luo. So, or actually, I guess that is his own bottle. Never mind. For whatever reason, I saw that and thought I said Lanham. But, got a bottle up early. And using it to try and up his jungle potential. He's making progress. He's near the top of the CS board. That is jungle CS, though, so obviously a little bit skewed. Not necessarily the highest in terms of net worth, and yeah, we can see he's behind Puck and the gyrocopter. And here we go. There's a surge. And Misery going to be disrupted. Ayesee's there. He is going to go ahead and back out. Has 2 points into Impale, 1 into Mana Burn. Doesn't have a single point into Carapace quite yet. Luo at some point is going to hit 6, though. And all of a sudden, this tri-lane is going to get very risky for LGD. Terrifying to have a Lycan just jump on you with a freshly spent ult. Puck maintaining room control for the moment. We can see our gyro continues to be at the top of our CS board. 30, 24 for Lycan, 19 and 20 respectively for Darkseer and Puck. Lanham is going to be followed up and engaged upon. There's a disruption to bail him out. Now they're in no man's land. This is a bad place to engage. Lanham is going to be able to make it away, and now they're going to trade 1437. Lanham will be cleaned up. Misery with Surge may be able to get away. Dodges the orb. Kabu's there and trying to deny himself. Nope, no such luck. Lycan shows up at just the right time. They end up with a fortuitous trade. They get 2 on the board in exchange for 1. Next assassin, the last to drop there. 6 kills on the board, 5 minutes in. Ayesee working on his Tranquil Boots now. And bouncing around the map. Want to see what Luo wants to get here. Would not mind seeing a medallion pickup. I think a medallion pickup will be solid for him in a lot of ways. Would allow him to be a much bigger threat coming out of the jungle to engage into this tri-lane if the tri-lane does persist. Going to allow him to look to take a much earlier Roche with help from his teammates. It's a great item all around. Help him out in the jungle as well. Now they're going to go ahead and spin Dust. There's the Impale on Phantom Lancer. He has no help around. And off the mark by 1437. And that's actually a rarity there. It is rare to see 1437 miss a Split Earth on Leshrac. And he missed an important one there. He hits that, they kill off the Phantom Lancer, as is though. Phantom Lancer makes it away quite safely. Here comes Kabu out of mid again. He's going to move up, look to catch LGD. And TP reaction is going to be prompted. This is going to be spotted. That's God. And wow, they got Lana with that. Got him right at the tip of that, and the Rocket Barrage enough to clean it up. Here comes the cooldown though, and now the good Waning Rift does enough damage. Isn't enough to clean up. Yes, they will end up getting him. But 1437 getting a triple kill by virtue of Edict. The Waning Rift was fantastically done, but it came out a little bit too late to prevent the Edict from going off from 1437, and that's an ultra kill. At just 6.5 minutes into this game, LGD blowing it wide open right off the bat. Good reaction coming out of God. Hit everyone with his call down, and the Rocket Barrage more than enough to clean up Rubik. And here in mid, Pycat having his way with things too. Now this is the bad part about having a puck who's this mobile, as Kabu is playing him. This mid lane, not only did Pycat just get a tower for himself and his team, but he is being left to relatively to his own devices to catch up and farm. 48 last hits. God is absolutely a monster right now. He's sitting at 48 last hits. He's got Treads, a Wraith Band, at 670 gold in the bank. And we are at 7 minutes in. He's got 50 last hits at 7 freaking minutes, man. He's on par for 150 at 20. And especially now that Flat Cannon and Rocket Barrage are going to be maxed, he's going to be able to dip into the jungle anytime the farm isn't there in lane, and he's going to be able to just stack and melt down creep waves that way. Ayesee's going to play catch-up in a big, big way. He doesn't even have his Tranquil Boots up yet. Ayesee sitting at 18 last hits. This offensive trial out of LGD, getting off to the fantastic start of a 3-for-0 trade within the first 60 seconds of play. Certainly didn't hurt. Now they're going to look for some revenge, and Brax is going to be caught with the coil. Will be cleaned up, so they get the return kill. In the meantime, though, look at bottom. Pycat's hooked. Look at the push power here. I mean, really, just think about how quickly they can push you. They have to react. They're going to push through to tier 2. There is absolutely no reason for LGD to stop. And if they don't come now, they're going to lose at tier 2. They need to come right now. Pycat, him and his bear off to a decent enough start. We see the 2 gloves of haste, typical, on the way. And yeah, finally here come the TPs. But they've got help coming as well. That's going to be Misery hooking up with them. This tower down to half health already. They're going to lose this tier 2. And Misery right behind, ready to engage. The push power is immense out of LGD. Just utterly immense. And I'm really surprised Rattlesnake allowed these lanes to persist the way they did. They're looking to get a little bit more push here on top. But the way they panned out, especially after giving up 3 deaths in top, I mean, it's hard to just abandon ship at 30 seconds in. But every hero that needed to do well did well for LGD. Pycat did well enough in mid, got himself a tower, got himself plenty of experience. He's high level, he's level 8. God is level 8 as well, and 64 last hits at 9 minutes in. They got kills with their supports in top. They traded back and forth a bit, but more than anything, they were able to shut down the Phantom Lancer. Lycan put into the jungle position where he's not that great anymore. They just basically laying this out in a way that guaranteed that LGD was going to get a win, basically. And now Lycan picked off again. This game has the potential to end very quickly if Rattlesnake does not get it together real quick. And I do mean real quick. Misery, now level 6, under cover of Vendetta, going to look for a target. He's going to spot him out behind your Kabu's here along with Ayesee and the rest of the team. And, yep, that's a dead Lanham. Lanham, Lanham has a hard life. It's, when I say a hard life, I'm talking Lifetime original movies, documentary style. That kind of hard life. Tier 2, one of only 2 remaining. Now down to half inch. I mean, the push power here is just immense. That's really the only word. Gargantuan. And the bear takes that last hit. More gold in the back pocket of Piecat. Panda, you're a man-child. You are a beast. And this is just a housing so far. We're at 10 minutes in. Let's look at the gold. Almost 10,000 gold in 10 minutes. 2,000 experience, so at least they're close in that regard. But Rattlesnake just looking like a team that has been knocked completely out of their rhythm. A team who, in every match I've broadcast in them so far, had a very set-in-stone identity. They were playmakers. They were high-risk, high-reward. They were good lane decisions. They were solid drafting. Then they show us a Lycan pick, which in and of itself is not bad. But the way that they allowed these lanes to work out, the way that they allowed LGD everything they wanted, a solo lane for Gyro, a solo lane for the Lone Druid, plenty of farm on both, and then fed them 3 kills when a Darkseer ran up 2-on-1 and was just suiciding, basically, kamikazing in. You have to anticipate things like that. You have to be able to read a situation like that. And from that point on to now, it's just been all LGD. And they are playing as well in Game 3 or better than Rattlesnake did in Game 2, which is saying something, because Rattlesnake kind of housed LGD in Game 2. It was a close game, a game that could have gone either way, but the execution all the way on the side of Rattlesnake in that game. And here we go. Lanham once again going to need a... Oh, wow, there's a coil that's going to catch a couple. That's at least going to delay them. Not going to keep this tower up. We are at 12 minutes in, and there's not a single outer tier tower remaining for Rattlesnake as soon as this one drops. There are no more outer tier towers remaining for Rattlesnake. 12 minutes in. The gold, once again up near 10,000. The experience is staying pretty even. So, I mean, they got that going for them. Quote the philosopher Carl Spackler. But right now, the lineup that Rattlesnake drafted is one which, I didn't really get a chance to analyze or talk a whole lot about Phantom Lancer, what he was going to do. He's actually just going right up to Treads. He may go Treads, it looks like he's probably going to go Treads Drums, if I had to guess. I mean, it looks like he was on his way to Tranquil Boots and thought better of it, just realizing that he's going to have to fight a lot sooner than he's going to be comfortable fighting. Luo taking a shot now at Roche. He did opt to go Vlad's instead of a Medallion, which I think is a bit of a mistake as well. He's going to be able to juggle the aggro of Roche here, okay. And right now they have no idea what's going on. They only ward in range belonging to Rattlesnake. They may be figuring it out now, though. There's a sentry. And they're going to get there just in time to stop this. Yep, we can see them bailing. There's the bear. And Roche. Piecat says, I'm actually surprised. Yeah, they got to go for it. I mean, it's as low as Roche is. How are they going to challenge here? This is not a fight that I think our Rattlesnake can take. Their best chance was to sneak that. I don't think they can challenge this at all. Yeah, they can. And they know it, too. All they can do is back up. Dust being spent just as a precautionary measure. Make sure no one's hanging around in that pit. And there you go. Gyro gets an Aegis. Gyro has a BKB at 13 minutes and 38 seconds with an Aegis, with Treads, with a Wraithband. LGD is playing some of the best Dota I've ever seen. And it's not as if they're playing really good Dota against a team that's just not on their level. Game 2 proved that's not the case. 100% proved that's not the case. I just feel like Rattlesnake got hit in the mouth. Anyone who's ever fought, if you boxed or MMA or whatever, sometimes you just take a shot and it hits you just the wrong way. And it just knocks you out of the moment. And I feel like that's what's happened to Rattlesnake. And, fighters know what I'm talking about. Sometimes it's just you get cracked dead on in the nose, makes your eyes water, and all of a sudden it's like someone hit a reset button in your brain. And you have the hardest time recovering from that because all of a sudden you're out of the moment and you are just off kilter and unable to really get your head back in the game. I really feel like that's what's happened to Rattlesnake here. They came out with a creative draft, that was being laned in a way that was inherently advantageous to LGD. Gyro getting complete free farm, Pycat in a matchup in mid against the Puck, who was not going to be able to apply a lot of pressure to him. And giving up those 3 initial deaths at top, it feels like they were just, again, knocked out of the moment. And LGD has done nothing but wail on them since then. 10-4, 15 minutes in, God still continuing to just churn away on these creeps. He's got another 1,100 gold on his way to whatever he wants, really. 1,200 gold, their lead at 15 minutes into this game. The experience stays leveled off around that 2,000 mark, but really the experience beginning to not matter that much. Lycan with his Vlads. See what his next item pickup's going to be. He's making his way to mid. There's a Nyx Assassin in range. He's actually got a gem already, so they're going to look to take vision away from Rattlesnake. He's got gem. He's honestly tanked up already. He's already got a vitality booster. My good gracious. That is a hard-to-kill Nyx Assassin. He's got 1,000 hit points. He's got a wand. Carapace, Vendetta, well-leveled. Darkseer will be putting his first point into wall momentarily. At level 10. He's already got a mech, by the way. Armlet already done on the Lone Druid. He's picked up his trademark casual cloak. And, I mean, this is just good Dota, man. And Rattlesnake... Oh, Luo. Luo's going to eat that. Here comes God. There's the follow-up. Can they lock him down? Nope. Not even going to try. God turned south instead of north. And they've basically got them under siege here. They've got them under siege worse than Steven Seagal. That's pretty under siege. Some people, some of the older viewers are going to get that joke who were around when Under Siege came out. Because that was an awesome movie when I was like 6 years old. But anyway, LGD doesn't afraid of anything. They're just going to rush the steps here and dare them to engage out. Here comes Brax. Uses the mech, gets everyone back into fighting shape. That Panda still laying into this tier 3. And yeah, they just are afraid to re-engage. Gyro will be disrupted, and now the tower drops. Ayesee can't fight. Ayesee has one blade. Ayesee has nothing, okay? Ayesee's like a junk salesman. He's got a pieces of everything, but no complete item worth talking about. He's got a set of treads. He's got a blade of alacrity, and he's got a bracer. None of which matters. Yeah, I mean, you can't even defend your racks at 17 minutes. This is one of the most lopsided turnarounds I've ever seen for professional teams. Now we're going to see a coil thrown out. That'll catch Pycat, but oh no, they can't leave for a few seconds. Now they can leave. And the bear, they don't even try. It's like that bear's not going to be. Don't worry, we can't kill the bear. The bear's got 2,700 hit points. The bear is Roche, basically. The bear is Roshan. But I'm a little stunned, to be honest. I've had the pleasure of casting Rattlesnake since their debut in Phase 2. Luo should be able to get away here. Gonna cost him a lot of health and a lot of mana, but he does get away. But they have played impressive Dota every step of the way. And just a bad game for them. They're a fantastic team. They really are. But to see, it's astounding, really. To see a team that did so well in Game 2, that hung so close in Game 1 that they lost, but it was still a very good game. And then you come down to a Game 3, and it's just not even close. 15,000 gold, 18 minutes in. And no real chance to bounce back, really. We'll find out, though. They've already lost one set of racks. Second set on the way. This could be our last fight. There's a waning rift out of Kabu, but he's going to be chased off. God's just invincible. He's using cheat codes. He has a BKB, he has a Yasha, Kabu, tried to be cute, tried to fade. And there's the Aegis. Gone, at the very least. Luo tried to charge in, he pays the price as well. Now God using that BKB, taking a little bit of damage, but not nearly enough to really be of a concern. And LGD looking to close this series out. Very anticlimactic conclusion to what otherwise has been a great series. One of the better, I mean, Games 1 and Games 2 were two of the more exciting games I've broadcasted in the last month. And this is one of the more lopsided affairs I've broadcasted in the last month. If not the most lopsided affair I've broadcasted in the last 30 days. Mac Hughes gets everyone back up, ready to roll. And soon to be Megas. One last hurrah about to come out of Rattlesnake. Kabu Gonna be disrupted. And good vacuum brings them together. They do manage to pick off the puck. Here comes the call down. God might end up paying for his overconfidence here, and he will. But it doesn't matter. The tier 3's gone. And yeah, they're just going to sail out on the racks. Not even paying attention to the Lycan. That'll be that. GG's come out as Landham and company, after hanging tough in Game 1, after showing us an incredible win in Game 2 to force this third game. They tap GG just north of 20 minutes. And LGD International asserts their dominance in a very real way. Tells the world as a whole, you know what? Rattlesnake's good, but we're LGD International. And we are in it to win it. 15-5, in excess of 15,000 gold, the advantage for LGD International by the time the horn blows. And can't say a whole lot else, man. I mean, it was just a great performance from them, a great bounce back in pretty much every way. And LGD International rules. Bouncing back after their recent loss to their counterparts, LGD China. They improved their record here in the group stage of Phase 3 to 1-1 and improved their odds of making it into the main event. Rattlesnake, after stunning Orange just days ago, they come up short here against the G League second place finishers that are LGD International. 20 minutes, 41 seconds, the official game time. And what was a dominant performance from LGD International.